Kym Pottinger. I've been working in Caringbah now for about 7 years. I see a whole range of different kinds of children, starting from very small babies who might be born with feet that are perhaps turned in, babies with tight necks, to older children with sprained ankles. And then of course you've got all the other things. You know, kids get out there, they play sport, and sometimes they need physio after they break a bone. I see a lot of teenagers with quite poor posture. What we see with poor posture in children, because they spend so much time hunched over their screens and their computers, is we really see an exaggeration of this curve there. I think it's something that we're going to see happening more down the track as all the months of reduced activity. We've had to change a lot of what we do, just even things like how we space people out in the waiting area. We've always done a lot of cleaning, but now we do way more cleaning between times. I use a lot of toys in my work with children, and everything's got to be cleaned down from one patient to the next. During the period of restriction, I did a lot of telehealth. Some of that was just phone calls to parents to kind of make sure things were going okay, but then there's also video treatments where the child was at home with mum and dad and we were doing our physio over a telehealth conference. The one thing I'm not doing face-to-face again now is an exercise class, which I was running before COVID happened. We can't really do that now because it's just not big enough to have 3 children and a physio in the room. So we now do that exercise class online. Sometimes you'll get a child, often quite a small child, a toddler who comes in who's quite stranger conscious, and it's very hard to assess them and get an idea of what's going on. But if you pop them at home with mum and dad and a phone and a little video link, actually you can get a much better idea of what's going on with that child. Now I'm much more comfortable with the whole telehealth thing, and I can see that for many of us it will open up some areas that have not been opened up before, in terms of, say, people who live in the more remote communities of Australia have a lot more trouble accessing specialist health professionals. Our professional body has been enormously supportive of physios during COVID, and there have been a lot of resources made available to us. There are quite a few programs out there. There's one called PoviU. I use that a little bit. That's an Australian developed one. Our practice management software, we use a system called Clinico. Usually I have a couple of backups. You know, it's technology, things go wrong. During the restrictions here back in March, April, I was still doing some face-to-face and some telehealth, whereas my colleagues in Melbourne are pretty well doing full telehealth. And I think if we had a second wave, that's the way that we would go